Welcome to the real Monster D. That would be me. You have oft heard me lament about how Gamera of all the Kaiju has been left in the dust. I mean, Godzilla has over 30 films to his name, and King Kong is almost always a surefire box office hit. But the poor turtle has been sadly left behind for so many years. However, just when you think Gamera has it bad, Yongary is many, many steps below him. I mean, if Gamera is RC Cola, what does that make Yongary, huh? Does that make him Sam's brand or something to that effect? Why, he is so disrespected that the box art on this box containing his film does not even have Yongary anywhere. This is a big old box collection filled with Gamera, and mostly Gamera, and Giant Gila Monster and other movies, and Yongary is squeezed right on in there with barely a mention. The poor, poor fellow. But Yongary is not without his merits. He is not without his lessons. And today, after giving a fresh look at this classic South Korean film, I thought I would offer 10 things that Yongary has taught me and that he can teach you. 1. Calling your wife beautiful is considered politics.
And really, I don't know how you can be tense and smile all at one time.
Oh, it's easy at weddings. Especially when marrying the world's loveliest girl.
Let's not talk politics now.
2. Never trust a kid in a bow tie.
Don't you realize they almost scratched themselves to death?
Yeah, but you gotta admit it was kind of funny.
3. Just talking about an earthquake and never showing it in a movie is good enough.
Very unusual. An earthquake in that area.
An earthquake?
The earthquake's moving, sir.
I thought so. In what direction?
To the northeast.
Well, now what?
And that is that this earthquake or earth movement is defying every natural law that man knows.
4. Sometimes news of an earthquake is enough to cause a car crash.
What?
Number 5. When evacuating a city from a monster attack, be sure to bring the essentials, such as a pillow or your favorite rug. Number 6. In South Korea, there is a secret race of 45-foot people roaming around. Number 7. Sometimes your star monster refuses to come out of his trailer for a scene.
Why should a monster drink oil? I've got it.
Number 8. Yongary, back in his day, nearly caused a musical craze in the form of Dance Dance Reptilian.
I mean, you should have seen him last night. He was dancing.
9. Never trust a kid in a bow tie, especially when it comes to making birthday wishes.
He might have destroyed the entire Earth if we hadn't stopped him.
Of course I know. I know that we had to kill him, honest. But my other wish would be that he could be here now.
And number 10, the perfect way to begin and end a film about a monster who causes earthquakes and rises from the Earth's undersurface is, of course, in outer space. Looking for a monstrous keepsake for your loved one? How about a monster on demand? I turn your loved ones, pets, even yourself into highly detailed, personalized monster images. Order yours today at therealmonsterd.com. Speaking of things that are forgotten, I thought I would take this opportunity to talk about an oft-forgotten band and album. Yes, this band and this album hail from the year 1972. The band is Captain Beyond, and so is the title of the album. This is often overlooked, and it is a sad and a shame and almost a surprise that it is, because this album is stacked with insanely talented personnel. Right off the bat, you have lead vocalist Rod Evans, the original lead vocalist of Deep Purple. On guitar, you have Larry Reinhardt, also known as the Rhino, who was of Iron Butterfly fame. Coming with him from Iron Butterfly is bassist Lee Dorman. And then finally, Bobby Caldwell joins the pack on the drums, who was also known for working with Johnny Winter and Eric Dillinger. So, this album is absolutely just stacked. And it escapes me that, such a band got overlooked. Now, this band did frequently tour, I know, with King Crimson, and it could probably pretty well compare to them. Certainly more so than a Deep Purple. Purple is moving in more and more of a heavier and heavier and crazier direction. This band, while it could get heavy, definitely had a lot of ebbs and flows in its sound in a good way. Definitely leaning more towards the prog rock side of things. In fact, yes, this album is very proggy, very kind of concept in its feeling. Its purpose, its plot, what it speaks about are very hard to talk about, but let's just say that it lives up to the Beyond part and really does just sweep you away. There are a number of ways to enjoy the album, but I highly recommend not just picking a random song out of here and just listening to it as a solo. This is not an album made of singles. It should be listened to from start to finish. It actually is not that long. I do not believe it is even 30 minutes long. And it certainly takes you through a sonic adventure. But if you get to a point where you've listened to it all the way through and aren't ready for that, there is a way to break it down and listen to it to where it still makes sense. It essentially takes place in 3 acts. Act 1 consists of the first 4, actually the first 5 tracks on the album, starting with Dancing Madly Backwards, which sets the tone for the rest of the first act, as track 2, Armsworth, and track 3, Myopic Void, and track 4, Mesmerization Eclipse, they all reference the chorus of Dancing Madly Backwards. Again, they pull back to it again and again in their own way, but they have these interesting sort of tribal drum solos and just some really lush variety in terms of music there. And then this first act is strongly punctuated by track 5, The Raging River of Fear. Easily the heaviest track on here, and in my opinion, this was a good, making a good case that Rod Evans could in fact deliver some heavier vocals. It was long said that he was outed from Purple for not being able to perform in the heavier style that they were moving towards. Granted, Rod definitely was never quite the banshee wailer that Ian Gillan was, but he had his own sort of raspy power in and of himself. Now, after Raging River of Fear resets the stage, then you get the next 3 songs, which you can listen to together, which starts with 1,000 Days of Yesterday's, the intro. And that rolls into Frozen Over, which begins with this beautiful acoustic guitar. And that finishes up with 1,000 Days of Yesterday's Time Since Come and Gone. So that's those 3 songs, again, are their own experience. You can enjoy them together as one part. And then the last third, the last act, if you will, is the last 5 albums. This is probably my favorite chunk of the album. And this begins with track number 9, I Can't Feel Nothing, part 1. And it starts out nice and slow, and then it rolls in, and then you get track 10, which is The Moon Speaks to the Waves of the Sea, which also features a rare spoken part by Rod Evans. Very interesting. And that rolls into perhaps the wildest song in its own way of the album, Astral Lady. Wild because it is only 15 seconds long. It is practically just a solo, but it is its own track. Believe it or not, there is actually a cover out there of just Astral Lady. Very interesting. That leads fluidly right into track 12 as The Moon Speaks Return. And the entire thing in this very finger-looking good finale, track 13, I Can't Feel Nothing, part 2. So that entire chunk of 5 songs you can listen to together, but I would not recommend listening to any of them alone. I would say out of this whole album, Raging River of Fear would have been the strongest contender for being a single, but again, this is definitely not a singles album. It is meant to be experienced, devoured as a whole. So, if you're looking for something a little bit different, but with a classy feel to it, with a powerful set of personnel, I highly recommend taking a cosmic voyage with Captain Beyond. Are you in the mood for a monster? 5-minute monsters have returned! Enjoy a 30-minute experience in your own home, where I draw all the monsters I can muster. I am going to pull the monster right out of your very own mind. I will do so by using my magic monster maker. Order your experience at therealmonsterd.com. Welcome to the drawing challenge. Well, since today we talked about a not so fondly remembered kaiju and an often forgotten concept album, I thought we might combine the concept of a kaiju and a superhero and get a Captain Kaiju. How will that work out? I have absolutely no idea, but that is part of the fun, right? So here is my time-telling device. You can see that. And we are go. So how much of this is going to be kaiju and how much will be superhero? Quite an interesting ordeal, huh? All right, so I think first I'm going to bring in the superhero feeling real quick with a nice clenched fist. But what will that fist be attached to? And how will it look kaiju? Let's see here. All right, so there we go. All right. Now, so we have this creature doing sort of a punching action here. Leaning back, really putting out that sense of posing power, which superheroes are also known for. Kaiju themselves, in a lot of cases, especially with something like Yongary, are not necessarily always that great at the dramatic poses. A lot of them sort of come as they are and stay sort of static. I know that is not true in every case, and perhaps fewer and fewer cases as CGI catches up on their mobility. But I figure we would give this kaiju much more of a humanistic kind of feel, in a sense, but also, this is a kaiju. Let's go ahead and give this thing a tail. All right. So now, here comes the funny part. I'm going to give this creature a sort of a superhero mask, which, why would a dinosaur-sized monster or larger ever need to conceal itself from its would-be enemies? Interesting thought, huh? All right, this is getting wild and out of hand real quick. All right, moving more and more as I add lines to it into the realm of pure comedy. All right, well, that is okay. I live to make you laugh, so that is quite all right in my book. All right. So there we go. Let's see here. You know what? Let's go ahead and add a little bit of a flowing cape. Why not? Classic kaiju cape capers. All right, what do you think a kaiju-sized superhero, a kaiju hero, what do you think its powers would be? Do you think this thing could fly or just jump really far? Obviously, it has super strength. I feel like every superhero at this point has to start with the super strength, which, by the very nature of it being giant, it sort of already has, right? It's going to be big enough to wield buildings and vehicles as weapons, although if it is a hero, it probably should shy away from that. Maybe. All right. Some more dramatic shadows. Really make you feel this thing's weight and power, along with its silliness. All right. Keep it going. Keep it going. I suppose the tokusatsu heroes, characters like Ultraman and Iron King, they sort of fit the kaiju superhero nature. I suppose I just don't necessarily think of them as kaiju in that sense, in that sort of reptilian, lizardy sense. And certainly, you know, Godzilla and Gamera have taken on, the heroic role. All right. So how is that? Is that one crazy Captain Kaiju? Feel free to tell me in the comments below what superpowers you think this crazy character has. Well, I hope you have enjoyed not only this drawing challenge, but the episode entire. If you have, please do claw that like button and toll that bell so you can be ready, willing, and salivating for the very next episode of The Real Monster D. Stay monstrous!